What's going on, guys? Today I've got the Mara phones. Now I've got the Mara phone X here in my left hand and the Mara phone X1 here in my right hand, and basically I'm going to show you the spec difference between the original X and the upgraded X1 and what Mara phones have done to improve on the original X1. Now these are quite drastic differences, but the prices haven't jumped that significantly, which is what has impressed me overall. And basically if we jump straight into this sort of side by side straight away, you can instantly see the incredible design upgrade that the phone has had. So you can see it's got that sort almost quad camera setup, although it is a triple setup on the X1, compared to that single camera on the X. And you can even see down to some designs that it just looks a lot better, the X1 does, than the X in my personal opinion. You can see they clearly both have fingerprint scanners on the back here, and they both have that infamous Mara lion head design. So they look great, and a little bit more information is on the back here. You can see, I'm not sure if the camera will fully pick it up because it is fairly small. It is designed by Mara, and this one is made in Rwanda. The X is made in Rwanda, and the X1 is made in South Africa. So that's just a little bit on the design. We're going to jump straight into some specs basically and go through them just so you can see the spec difference really. So starting off, the X has 1 GB of RAM and 16 GB of storage, compared to the X1 that has 3 GB of RAM, 32 GB of storage, and that 32 GB of storage is expandable, and all you do is plop it into that SIM card slot and expand it. However, that is a good time to note that both of these devices are dual SIM, so you can use dual SIM on both, and they are both 2G, 3G and 4G compatible, so you can use that on both of these devices. Now the chipset is where we get a little bit confusing. The X has a MediaTek 6739 chipset, and the X1 has a MediaTek Helio A20. So both have cool, very well performing MediaTek chipsets. However, the X1 clearly has a better chipset, and the A20 is very similar to sort of a 625 Snapdragon chipset. So, you know, a capable gaming chipset. The displays on these devices are fairly similar. The X has an IPS LCD display, whereas the X1 has what Mara phones dub the HD Plus display, which is absolutely incredible. If you actually have a look at it, the display looks extremely crisp and those colors are very accurate. The battery has been upgraded on the X1. You've got 4,000 mAh battery compared to 3,500 on the X. You've got a 13 megapixel main camera on the X1 up here, and a 5 megapixel selfie camera on the front here, compared to a triple camera setup, like I said in the beginning, which is a 13, 8 and a 2 megapixel camera on the rear, and a big old 8 megapixel selfie camera there tucked away at the top of the display. So you can have some crisp photos and some good selfies as well. As I said, these are both 2G, 3G and 4G compatible. And moving on to the displays, the Mara X has a 5.5 inch display, whereas the Mara phone's X1 has a 6.088 inch display. So a much bigger display on the X1. And you can see that really clearly when you have them basically directly side by side here. You can see that the display on the X1 is considerably bigger and goes further to the edges, as well as removing that forehead and chin. So it looks incredible, and the X1 is clearly a big old upgrade compared to the X. But there's the specs, guys. Now moving on to the price, the X1 is actually only £9 more expensive in comparison to the X. So we couldn't find anywhere currently that is listing the X. We had to go off of the international price, which does not have tax included. So we added the tax and we converted it to pounds, and that came to £190 compared to £199.99 that the Mara X1 is listed at right now that you can buy. So there isn't really a considerable jump in price. However, there is an absolutely colossal jump in spec. So that is incredible, and hopefully this train continues with Mara phones, and maybe on the X2 that we might see, the specs will jump even further and have, you know, basically not a price that, that relates that. So that's incredible, and I'm very impressed by the jump in spec compared to the price that Mara have managed to do. Overall, very impressed by this phone, and I think for a phone that is made in Africa, these are some brilliant specs and definitely a step in the right direction. If you want to know more about Mara phones and their stories, please check that link in the description, where we are going to link a Mara phones description and basically what Mara phones do and what they stand for. It's a very ethical company, and therefore that is why their prices are perhaps slightly higher than the market average, but that is basically because of the incredible work that Mara do. But yeah, as I said, I think it's a step in the right direction for phone manufacturers as a whole, and I really am impressed with what the X1 can do. And I'm also impressed with the fact that the X1 is so much better than the X, yet the price jump is not even there. Anyway guys, thank you very much for watching this video. I know it's a short comparison. If you want to see a more in detailed spec breakdown of either of these phones, please let us know in the comments below and be sure to get back to you. Thanks for watching guys, and I hope to see you in the next video.